Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Gretchen Casey Show. And this is where I talk to real people who are in the field of real estate, who are not only experts, but they are generous and they're willing to share their knowledge and their wisdom with us here today. And the goal of the show is for you to gain some information and some tips and to help you reach your goals in owning real estate and to take some of the guesswork out of what to do or who to call when you have questions, as well as what's the process all about. So today I'm thrilled to have Meghan Chomut here, and Meghan is a certified financial planner and an investment property advisor. And Meghan helps families and income property owners to get their personal investment property finances organized and to make smart investment decisions by designing custom plans and tax strategies. I met Meghan when she reached out to me when I had done a post on Instagram, and she liked a tip that I shared, and we developed a friendship that way, which a professional relationship, which a lot of people wonder, is it worth doing social media, which is a whole nother topic, but I'd say definitely yes. We met that way, and then I invited Meghan. Actually, first she invited me to be on her show, which really inspired this, so I'm so grateful to you, Meghan. And then I had a webinar with two guests, and Meghan was one of them. That was on June 3rd of this year, 2020. So she is filled with great tips and energy, and I'm just thrilled that she's here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to contribute to the conversation.
Excellent. So I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself, give a little bit of background, and tell a little bit more about what you do.
Okay, so I won't go all the way back to the beginning, but I am a mom, a wife, a friend first. And professionally, like you said, I'm a certified financial planner. I've been in the finance space my whole career. I got my degree in finance. I got my first job. I've never left the industry. I've always stayed in my lane here. I love it. And now I have my own practice where I work pretty much exclusively with people on not only their real estate component, but also their financial planning component and how they come together and they can complement each other. So that's kind of where my expertise is. It's blending those two components.
Okay. And in my experience, that's very unique to have a financial advisor who has that knowledge or an investor who has your financial background. I think it's fantastic and amazing, and it offers people a more well-rounded view of their investment options. And if you could maybe talk a little bit about your process as well as maybe your fee structure that allows for that, because I know in the past in talking to some advisors, they say, well, I'm not really charging for real estate advice, so I'm not going to go there. So it seems like maybe you found a model that works where you can speak to the whole scenario effectively and still have it make sense for you as a business.
Right. I think that's a really good question because a lot of people will go to an advisor or their bank or wherever to get some sort of foundation and where should I invest or how much should I be investing and all those questions. But they never really ask, how is this person who's giving me advice compensated? So there may be some sort of, conflict of interest almost, even though I've been on both sides of the table and I didn't feel like I was guiding people towards one solution because of the compensation. So the model that I have now is I don't sell any products. So I don't sell mutual funds or stocks or insurance. If I've told you to that I think you're missing some sort of piece, whether it's a mutual fund asset allocation or an insurance product, it's because I honestly think you need it. If I refer you to somebody, like if I were to refer a client to a mortgage broker or some sort of different type of advisory, it isn't because I get a referral fee. It's because I trust that person. I think that could be a potentially great fit for you. The only people paying me are the clients, which is, I think, a little bit different than what you would see typically in the finance space. So that's kind of unique, but it's also, different in that you're paying for working with somebody as opposed to going to the bank and just kind of getting some advice and putting some money in a mutual fund.
Okay, so to make sure I understand, if you do say, believe a mutual fund's a good option for this client, are you still obtaining, like you're reaching out and you're actually placing the order and obtaining that for them? Or no, you're always referring everything and charging sort of a consultation fee? How?
Yeah, so for example, let's say Gretchen came to see me and she has an RSP, a tax-free savings account, and a rental property. So what I do is I take all of that information and I say, this RSP could use these tweaks and changes. This tax-free savings account looks perfect. And this rental property incorporates into your whole portfolio this way. I'm seeing some red flags, or I'm seeing some really good opportunities here. Now, if I think that RSP needs some changes based on maybe your age, your risk, your next stage of life, your current stage of life, maybe a situation is brewing in your lifestyle right now, then I provide the recommendation. And if the account is already at the bank, there's a good chance that you can go ahead and do that change or whatever right there. But if not, then I can provide the resources to go forward and kind of implement those recommendations. Like, I'm there to handhold along the way. I don't just give the recommendation and say, good luck.
Okay.
Figure it out. No, I'm there to handhold and work with that advisor, maybe if it's at an investment firm.
Okay.
And say, I'm recommending this. What do you think? I don't think this is in line with, did you know they had this rental property? Because that's another question that sometimes when you're building some sort of investment portfolio, that rental might have come afterward.
Okay. And so if somebody wants to know more about the details of how that all works and the fee and all that, obviously when we're done, we'll share your contact info and they can reach out for more details.
Well, that's another thing that's really interesting about this industry, is that the fees tend to be not very transparent. So when you go ahead and buy, let's say, a mutual fund in an RSP, you are paying a fee for that. There is an advice piece there. And how that is marketed is called an MER. So when you go ahead and buy something, even if you're doing online banking, and you go ahead and do a $200 deposit into your RSP, that fund has an MER. And let's say it's 2%. So what that's telling you is that if that particular investment makes 10% this year, they're going to pay their people first, which is 2%, which is the MER, and you'll get 8. If that investment product didn't do very well, and let's say it went down 5%, well, it's actually going to go down 7% because they got to pay their people first. So they got to do that 2%. No matter what, you're paying that MER, whether it goes up or goes down. Whereas someone like me, where I'm providing the advice piece, is I'm very transparent about my fees too. So to come work with me, all my fees are posted on my website. It's $750 to onboard and get your plan in motion and for me to review everything. And then it's $150 a month, every month after that, until you feel ready to not need the hand holding. Some people need the hand holding forever. Some people don't. Some people feel like, you know what? I feel like I have a system now. I feel like I have all the rules of thumb and I have all the pieces I need for this until my stage of life changes or until it gets more complicated. I kind of like to think about it like a cleaning lady. Like, you can have somebody come in and do a complete overhaul. So it would be $750. They will come and dust and clean, and everything will be organized. And then you're on your own. Go ahead. Try. You go ahead and maintain that if you think that you can. You have everything you need. Or I'll come in once a month or every 2 weeks, and I'll kind of just tidy everything up, and you don't even have to think about it. You just live your life. I'm going to worry about that cleaning up for you.
Okay. I think that's really refreshing and very exciting, actually, to hear about such a unique approach. So cool. And so how did you come to this? And I know you have investment experience and you own properties now. So, and I think from previous conversations, so that's influenced where you've gone with your business.
Yeah, I think that the whole reason I started it was because I needed a me. So when I first bought my first rental property, I didn't have a lot of people that I could ask. I had talked about wanting to buy my first rental property. I didn't really know anybody that had one. And the people at the investment firm that I was working at, all of them told me it was a bad idea because, just keep doing what you're doing, just keep saving. What if your tenants wreck your place? What if they don't pay rent, or all this? It's such high risk is what the messaging that was there. It's just such high risk. And I thought, oh, I can't, okay, but I'm going to do it. I get that you guys don't think it's a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyways. So I went ahead and did it anyways. And then once I ran into my first issues, I had nobody to ask for help because everybody had already said, don't do it. So I myself had to implement, all the systems. What are the numbers that make sense? Do I have enough money? Was this a smart investment? How do you know these things when things are changing? And it's almost like I bought myself a part-time job. So that was one aspect of it that I wasn't realizing. I also didn't anticipate the reaction to want to sell when anything inconvenient came up. So like Warren Buffett says, like the first rule of thumb is don't lose any money. And the second rule is don't forget the first rule. So it's like, I needed that reminder piece saying like, I got a phone call. We were on our way to a Christmas party saying that the temperature in our duplex was really cold. The only problem was the thermostat is in one unit and they weren't home. So that I had to physically go to the apartment and just turn up the temperature. But I was on my way to a Christmas party and I didn't want to do that.
Very
I
inconvenient.
also live in Northern Ontario. When it's cold here, it's no joke. So I had to go and do it. And just that one little phone call triggers so many scenarios where it was like, is this worth it? Like, let's just sell it. From just that, like,
Yeah,
I'm on my way to a Christmas
comfort.
party. Yeah, I'm off the grid right now. Like, I don't want to come and just turn up a thermostat and take an hour out of my day to do that. But it's bringing it all back. So I needed to be able to call my advisor and say, does it make sense for me to sell this or should I keep it? And it's not based on the inconvenience of a phone call or a bad tenant or all these things. It's strictly based on why do I have that investment property? What's its goal? How does it fit in my portfolio? And does that still make sense? So
you remind people of those really important things to remember when the emotions are going, no, I don't want to deal with this, forget it, dump it, right?
Exactly.
Back to the sane and the business aspects so you're definitely a coach for emotional side too, right?
Well, and I think a lot of people get their first property maybe with a significant other. So whether you buy it as a couple, or maybe you had each your own places and then you decided to keep one when you moved in together. And there's always one of the couple that are stronger attached to the rental property or making the decisions. So like I'm the decision maker in our family when it comes to the finances. So when I say, let's just sell that one, my husband just says, okay. He doesn't say to me, does that make sense? What does that mean? So we bought our first property with the intention for it to be my pension, because I don't have a pension. He has a pension, I do not. So when I say, okay, let's just sell that property, he doesn't say to me, okay, but if we sell it, does that give us the pension? Like, how do we replace that piece? He doesn't say that to me. He says, okay. So I needed somebody to say, okay, if we sell it, this is what you need to do with the money. You need to consider these tax implications. You need, like, all those other pieces. It's not just based on emotion or inconvenience sometimes, or temptation.
Really good point. So you provide that for your customers. That's excellent. And I know you actually just did a webinar where you talked about that fact of people inheriting properties too.
Yeah, I did a webinar on, I call them accidental rentals. So I feel like a lot of opportunities come up, whether it's couples getting together, keeping one of the houses. I see a lot of parents, instead of paying for rent when their child goes away for school, what they end up doing is they end up buying a house. The student gets roommates, and then that helps them pay the mortgage payment. So I like to consider those things like accidental rentals. And even if they aren't huge money makers, they still play a part in your investment portfolio. So what are the implications of those?
Yeah, that's really important. So people can definitely reach out to you for more information on that aspect, because a lot of people, like you say, fall in that category. Mm-hmm. Very cool. And so you have how many properties right now?
So I have 5 units in 2 buildings.
Okay. So you're definitely know quite a bit about acquisition, profit, cash flow, all of the important things that you need to know about as a property owner. So, right. All right. So what is because my side is the mortgage side. So when it comes to making a purchase or refinancing, what do you keep in mind when deciding on what type of financing, what lender, or what questions you ask the mortgage agent or mortgage broker so that you feel that the mortgage is a right fit for this property?
Yeah, really good question. So in terms of the little details, I tend to let the mortgage broker tell me about those details. But I really want, when I'm working with somebody, for them to know what my goals are and what my needs might be right now and what I foresee my needs being later, so that they know to match me. I don't want to, like, depending on everybody's preferences, I prefer to work with somebody who can provide me with a variety of options. I don't want to just be pigeonholed into one specific, maybe financial institution, for example. So working with a broker is, for me, a no-brainer, because not only can they have access to a variety of institutions and products, they also can compare them for me, because they are working with clients who that product fits with that person, and here's why. This product fits with this person, and here's why. And they know what fits with me and why. I don't have to have had those experiences. I've learned from, their matching and their education and their own due diligence. In terms of asking questions, because I am a real estate investor and I am self-employed, sometimes I don't even know what questions to ask. All I know is I need extra help because not a lot of people want to lend me money. I mean, I'm just going to be honest, because
well,
I don't
as cookie cutter as if you had a employee salaried job, right?
I don't have that T4. So I don't have that employment contract, letter of employment or whatever. I don't have that. So that kind of, I would be just wasting my time if I were to go to this bank and then this bank and then this bank and they're all telling me no. If I go to somebody who works with people like me all the time and they say, I've worked with you yesterday and this is the result I got, maybe we could do even better because you have this piece. And I think just making sure that they have worked with someone just like you. I mean, I also think it's important to have some sort of rapport with them where it isn't just a transactional basis. I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into it because it is a big investment. So I think like take your time, ask questions that even if you think they're stupid questions, just ask them.
Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of good points, and also the one that you mentioned, kind of knowing your long-term goals, because it's going to be different from my point of view. If you tell me, I'm buying one rental, but I don't know that I'm going to buy any more, it's probably going to be one, is a different story than someone saying, I'm really anxious to quit my full-time job and be a full-time investor, and my goal is to buy 2 to 3 properties a year forever. That's a really 2 different scenarios, and not that you can't switch back and forth, but it's different in terms of knowing strategic lender placement because some lenders are only going to let you have 4 properties or 4 doors versus others. You could have more different structures. You could have quite a few. And then where do like joint venture partners fit in, stuff like that. So it's
Yeah,
good.
that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So your Instagram. So that's how we met. And I am so impressed pretty much daily with what you do on Instagram, because you have such a great balance between really good sound financial advice, ideas about sort of self-motivation. You show a picture of who you are. You do posts around your family, your children, your vegetables in the garden. And then also some of the things that you feel are important to you in terms of your values come through on what you're posting, both as images and videos. And they're fun to look at, and I smile and laugh all the time. And what I'm curious about, and I've never asked you, but do you do your own social media?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely.
You're very creative. Is that something you've always had in your life, or just something I'm really curious because
Well, I think the thing about social media and my own personality is I am an oversharer. I always have been. There is never a filter. There's barely anything I'm not willing to talk about. So I think social media for me is more of an outlet to, do that, because I am in the trenches here with spreadsheets and numbers, and the social media allows me to explore other more visual things. So whether I see something that, really resonates with me and I want to share it, I can share it in so many different ways, whether it's a coffee chat with you, whether it's just a quote, or it's a picture of, the view that I had this morning, or an event that I'm doing with my kids. I think that it's more of an outlet than anything. And it's an appropriate outlet because I am an oversharer by nature, which is both a blessing and a curse. People who see my oversharing have already, consented to say, I want this over, this oversharing, I'm not bombarding people who don't want to see it, which can be me sometimes.
Oh, well, I find that interesting calling yourself an overshare instead of like maybe an extrovert. It's more the common term, but overshare. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am an extrovert too, but I think that I just feel compelled to, with everything in the world that's going on, for everyone to know where I stand. So that my values are super clear. I'm a super transparent person. And when I don't like something, like recently, because we're doing a renovation, my biggest thing that I hate is when I look at all these beautiful before and after pictures, but nobody tells me how much it cost them. So then I say, okay, I want to share my before and after pictures, which were horrible, by the way. So that's one thing that I'm going to get better at. I had one before picture of the kitchen. And I was like, oh no, like, why didn't I take 100 so that I had different angles and better lighting? But whatever, I'll get there. But I hate that I'm trying to get this information. I like the before and after pictures, but there's no real value there for me. There's the idea, but I can't implement it because I don't know where they got their stuff. I don't know how much it cost them. I don't know how long it took them. Did they do it themselves? Did they get a professional? So then I take that information and I say, okay, well, here's my before and after shots. And here's all the things that I wish other people would tell me. Like that oversharer in me comes out and I say, I want to know how long it took you. Did you do it yourself? How much did it cost? So then I share that information.
That's great. I love it. And if people want to check out all this great stuff that you're doing, as well as your website, how do they find you?
I am Meghan with an H, CFP on every social media platform. So Instagram's my favorite, but I'm also on Facebook too, and LinkedIn and all of them.
And your website as well, they would.
Yeah, my website is meghanchomut.com, and all my contact information, if you just Google Meghan Chomut, it should all show up.
Perfect. And what is your one last piece of advice for Canadians right away today, right now?
I think right now is a really interesting time to be in. I mean, it's very unusual. There's nothing normal about what we're all going through. So in terms of being true to who you are, standing up for what you believe is right. If you see something that's wrong, say something. I also think that you should just be who you are. So like I always say to people when it comes to finances, if you're a morning person, I'm not going to force you to be a night owl. So just know who you are and don't try to force yourself to be something you're not, but really just get comfortable and condition the systems and the environment based on who you are.
I think that's great advice. Wonderful. Well, Meghan, thank you so much for all of your time and your input, your ideas today. I'm truly grateful to you, and I know you've given a lot of excellent tips, and I'm sure people will be reaching out to hear more and get some of your more of your assistance. So thanks so much.
Well, you're very welcome. I wish you the most success in this endeavor. I think that this is just the best resource for people, is to hear other points of view and how they can make sense of things that maybe don't make sense to them right now.
Oh, I think that's great. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.